As they came down, they were jumping over their own dead, charging in toward us with their bayonets and, again, port arms. I got into one guy that didn't want to go any further than me, I think, and he and I got into it. I started falling, and as I was falling, he lunged at me, and he stuck me in the stomach, and I fell. And about that time, the kid next to me, it was big in there, he saw the problem that I was having, and he shot him in the back. He fell down on top of me. He wasn't dead yet. But when I fell, my hand hit the gung-ho knife that I had been using, and I pulled it out of the ground like that, and I just came up from it, and then I slit his throat. And I just had to bring it up over, and then it came down, slit his throat, and he started all over me and all over my blouse that I had. And I was wearing my Marine blouse. And when I cut his throat, he, of course, screamed and yelled, and he smelled of sake and fish. And it's a lot different when you're that close, and you can hear them, and you scream, and you smell them. Anyway, I stayed there until the next morning. And then next morning, well, most of them all were gone up on the hill, back up on the hill. They started counting noses and see which ones were dead and which one weren't. So they came over to me and they said, "Hey, here's one guy that's it looks like he's done in, but he says he started moving, so he's not." So they took the dead off of me and then helped me up on it, and they saw that I was wounded. And he put some sulfur and stuff, packed it in there with that, and then he put bandage of some sort on top of the wound. Then he started to say, "We got to keep going on it," because they were getting ready to go further up on the peninsula there. That's when they had a lot of pill boxes in that particular area from Masan, and they were going further on up. So I just put something up on my stomach on it like that, and put my cartridge belt tight over it, and I went on up. And they says, "Well, can you walk?" I said, "Yes." But he says, "Well, you put on there," and says, "Well, you keep right on going until we can get where we can do a better job on your stomach." Found another blouse that was on the dead guy, so I took his blouse off and I put it on, and because I was pretty well bloody at that time, and so I put that on and got in line, and we started going further on north, and went for a little while, and then I was getting a little bit weak from the loss of blood. They hollered that for a corpsman to come up from the headquarters company that was down there by where the tanks were, and he came up and he put a tape bandage on my stomach, and he pulled the pieces the skin together, and then put that on, and so it stopped the bleeding, and it was is what really did a good job on that. We trained for about 8 months after Guam secured, and the training was different than what we had trained in boot camp and in bonsai camp, and our raider camp entirely different. All right. And so we were a little dubious as to what the heck they had in store for us. But anyway, we went from our training and out and lined up, went over and went to our USS Jackson, and that was in February. Well, we went through 2000. We went through airfield number 2. We got over on the other side of airfield number 2, and I found my scout and my BAR men over there by themselves on it. I got in with them. Then pretty soon the 4th Marines, 4th Division came by, and there was a general, and he took us in. He says, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, we're 21st Marines." And he says, "Well, no, you're in the 4th Division now." Says, "We need it, and we're getting ready to attack the radio station." So, and then we had to have, he needed a lot more people. So we went with them, and we went over 267A and 267B. And we went from there, we went and took those two. Then we took the Motoyama village, where the workers were, and then we took the Motoyama radio station at that time, and then 267, and we went from there on over to 382, and as we got on 382 on the night, the threw hand grenades down into our shell hole that we were building for ourselves on 382 that evening. And we were to attack, and we attacked with the 4th Division on 382. My scout went up on top. We were leading the charge. My scout went up on the top first. My BAR man was following him, and then I was following that. Well, the scout went up on the lead, stopped, and he looked around. He couldn't see anything else up, so he pretty soon the BAR man came up there, and he started up there. He stopped and he looked around. He didn't see much on it. Then I went up there, and as I went up on the top of the ridge, one of the jumped back into his pillbox and grabbed hold of his Nambu machine gun, 25 caliber, and he sprayed me across my chest. And I got the first 2 bullets went through my right chest here, went inside, went through my clavicle, cracked the clavicle, top of my lungs, came out my left chest on my left side, and had a big hole in my left side on it. And then I came out of my left part of and then it went through and cleaned out my muscle out of my left arm. So I of course went down. My BAR man went a little bit further, and he got hit with a hand grenade in his back on it. And he had all kinds of small holes in his back on it. But as I went down, the corpsman that was going over the attack force with me, he pulled me over and pulled me down into a shell hole. And I stayed in the shell hole there for a little bit, and they were fixing me up on it. And they wrapped my arm up, and they wrapped my right chest hole up, but they didn't see my left chest hole on it. And that's where all the was coming from. So that's where I got hit on the last one. And then we walked. The BAR man came up. BAR man, he came over and he says, "Bright people are going to get killed in this hole." He says, "Let's get out of here," because they were throwing hand grenades into the shell hole on it. So he pulled us up, and he and I walked out.